ready are you to take, make and manage payments? For over 30 years, WorldPay has been at the heart of global commerce. Our expertise has pulsed through payments as technology, consumer behaviour and the market have transformed. Whether it's mobile, online or in-store, WorldPay enables merchants to give their customers seamless purchases, however and wherever they want to pay. And we do it at scale, powering over 100 million transactions daily in 135 local currencies at over 2 million merchant locations. This all means WorldPay facilitates almost 50 billion annual transactions around the world. Our global presence spans 146 countries, meaning you can go international with ease. Where others chase trends, we deliver impactful innovation that matters to merchants. That's why our fraud, chargeback management and optimization tools result in 10 times fewer chargebacks, while still increasing sales conversions by 7.3%, leading to millions more in additional revenue. The biggest brands in the world trust their payments to WorldPay, including 7 of the global top 10 retailers, 8 of the world's 10 biggest airlines, 9 of the top 10 internet companies. Our vertical experts, relationship managers and consultative approach provide the human touch, working closely with our merchants to develop tailored growth strategies to boost business long term. No wonder we're the world's #1 global acquirer. And we want to help you create payment experiences that your customers will love. WorldPay. We're your payments people.
So today we're here in Wood Green to gather the community's voice to find out what they feel about this new cashless society or cashless state, whatever you may call it. Is it an agenda, is it a process, or is it a plan? We're going to be out on the streets finding out from the people what their views are. As you just saw, went into KFC and before you could even get to the till, there's already machines there waiting for you to order. Cut the queue out. Simple process. The only difference is you can't pay with cash at those machines. You are forced to tap your card. If you haven't got a card, you then have to walk to the desk and order like everybody else. Similarly, went into Greggs. Same process in Greggs. Tap your card and off you go. Every shop you go into now, it seems to be the trend. For me, I think it cuts down the traffic of lining up, but then my whole life has been tracked. So I get on the train, I'm being tracked. I get on the bus, I'm being tracked. I even pay at Ringo for my car. I'm being tracked of where I park my car. I go into the shopping center, same process. Today when I went to pay for my car parking, they had put black tape over where the coins used to go. So now you're being forced to make sure that you tap with your card. And one of the most embarrassing things is if you've got no money on the card, you're going to feel the embarrassment. So in terms of the world, is this a global takeover where everyone goes digital? And if you misbehave, you get sanctioned by your account being frozen. We bring it home and look how this impacts us on this small island. Everyone is frightened. Some countries such as Nigeria, Jamaica are already in the process of removing the cash. So if you're someone that believes in having cash at home, there's no more cash at home because you have to hand that back or it now expires. For all the elders that believed in throwing partners, and when we talk about partner, this is things that go back generations from slavery days, where you give someone some money and they'll hold it for you and then at the end of the year you get your partner money. That will be no longer because that money now has to be digital. So unless the person collecting that money has a cash machine, there will be no more partner going on. Something else we witnessed today, the people on the streets, unfortunately, that are living rough and homeless, the people that are out there playing their music, that are also busking to make a living. they will be affected. So it's not just the small person, the big corporate companies that was cutting off cash in hand, a little backhander for the builder and the carpenter. No longer, because everyone now has to go digital.
Before it is made, because the system knows that John is 2 miles from his own home, and John's wallet has been limited to spending within just 1 mile. John cannot now buy anything unless he moves closer to his own home. His money is now useless if he wants to go anywhere. Why doesn't John just use cash? That would be a good solution for John, as long as cash is still in use.
What about the drug dealers? They are petrified. No more drug dealing, because as you know, drug dealers don't take card. So are we now going to be seeing drug dealers walking with card machine in their back pocket, 3 for 35, tap and go? It's not going to happen. How is this going to impact the crime rate? Are drug dealers now going to start robbing banks and burgling houses? We need to think about this, because this has a massive impact on the community. Our friend selling his incense and his frankincense and also his oils, he's impacted. As a small stall owner, he has to pay for that patch first and foremost before he even makes a penny. Most of the people that come and buy from his stall will be using cash, because it's small items. A lot of people don't like using their cards when it comes to small items. How will he be impacted? How will he make a living to feed his family? Are we being selfish? Have we taken into consideration the disabled people, the elderly, that might not be tech savvy and be able to download online apps, be able to pay with their phone or pay with their card? Are we forgetting about a whole generation of people here when we're making these changes? Have they been consulted about their feelings and their fears? Because if I was 86 and using cash my whole life, to be forcing me now, because this is what this is forcing me now to have to use my mobile phone in a shop to pay for my groceries, I will be petrified too. All over the internet you could find this information. It's everywhere. People's views, positives and negatives. One of the people that we spoke about earlier when we were on the streets was Hush Puppy, a notorious scammer, fraudster, who made millions, even being invited to Louis Vuitton as a VIP from his scamming.
Ramon Hush Puppy Abbas seemed to have it all. Shopping trips in Paris with stops at Gucci and Louis Vuitton, posing by his pricey party cars, be it his Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon or his Ferrari 488 GTB, and showing off his birthday cake that depicted himself on top, surrounded by Fendi bags, were all common Instagram posts by this social media mogul. But here's the thing. All of Hush Puppy's wealth was fake. He had stolen millions from unsuspecting victims and fooled everyone. How did he do it? How long did he get away with it? Where is he now? Stick around to find out. So, just who was Hush Puppy before he was, well, Hush Puppy? Born Ramon Abbas in the city of Lagos, Nigeria, this social media influencer and future scammer grew up rather poor and made his living washing cars. His father was a cab driver, and his mother sold bread on the street. No doubt it was these humble beginnings that made Ramon dream of a better life. Unfortunately, he went about getting that better life in the entirely wrong way. Ramon was seduced by the dark underworld of internet scams and started working for a company called Yahoo Yahoo. Yes, you heard that right. This scam company took the name of the sole provider of the internet in Nigeria in a blatant attempt to confuse people. Unfortunately, this works, and people would indeed send over their money. Femi Olabi, a journalist at The Cable, has opened up about the most common and successful scams that Yahoo Yahoo would orchestrate. He said the most common format involved pretending to be an American soldier stranded in Africa. They would send emails requesting money for help to people in America. Mr. Abbas apparently had a real knack for tricking people into sending money, but Abbas wanted more. He traveled to South Africa and met up with even more seedy scammers who taught him how to take his illegal activities to the next level, and Abbas succeeded. After his first big score, he went out and bought a Rolex and posted pictures of it online. As time went on, the posts got more eccentric, and Ramon found he was gaining a following. These early Instagram posts can be traced back to 2012. Behind the scenes, Ramon was considered the ringleader of an entire group of scammers, and he moved his operation to Malaysia and eventually the United Arab Emirates. Part of the appeal of his posts was absolutely Abbas's biting tone. An early post featuring the interior of his Rolls-Royce was coupled with the caption, "This post is just to hurt my enemies." Another post which highlighted a beautifully arranged meal came with the text, "Hope y'all ate today." And his followers? They ate it up. They started referring to Ramon as Boss Man Hush, and soon Abbas had garnered 2.5 million Instagram followers under his moniker Hush Puppy. Online, everything seemed legit. Hush Puppy would post in front of private jets, and when a representative from private jet charter company Jetex was questioned about whether or not these photos were real, they responded that Abbas did indeed fly with them. Similarly, an employee at the Lux Dubai Mall was questioned about Hush Puppy's lavish shopping sprees. He was quoted as saying he was in here every day. So, what was Hush Puppy buying? Well, to put it bluntly, anything and everything he wanted. Abbas loved cars. Posts showed off his $1.7 million A Bugatti, his $330,000 2020 Rolls-Royce Cullinan, his $200,000 Bentley Bentayga SUV, and a $330,000 Rolls-Royce Wraith. Abbas happily flaunted his watch and clothes collections as well. Abbas sported $150,000 Rolex watches, tracksuits from Gucci totaling $3,000, Burberry shirts and pants worth well over $1,500, and t-shirts from Louis Vuitton, which cost $880, paired with Supreme pants worth $1,500. But it didn't stop there. Posts showing off Dior and Fendi were also the norm, including one birthday post that showcased Hush Puppy's cake, which featured none other than a miniature of Hush Puppy himself surrounded by Fendi bags. A store where you can drop $10,000 on a beige Blouson jacket. Many online sources claimed Hush Puppy had amassed a net worth of over $4 billion. And honestly, we see why people thought that. Check out this video of Abbas spraying a crowd with $100 bills at DeVito's brother's wedding. When questioned about where his wealth came from, Hush Puppy would simply answer he was a real estate developer. But the numbers didn't add up. Something was wrong here, and the FBI took notice. Abbas even one time slipped a hint of the source of his true wealth in this Instagram post, where he told his followers that he was a beggar by profession. This was closer to the truth than anyone could have imagined. In reality, Hush Puppy's wealth was amassed by a scheme called money laundering. He would use the internet to trick innocent victims into wiring him their money, thinking the money would be going towards something else. In reality, it went right into the pockets of Mr. Abbas. Abbas's victims included a New York law firm where an unsuspecting paralegal was duped into transferring $922,857 straight into Abbas's bank account. A foreign bank was also scammed by Hush Puppy in the amount of $14.7 million in February of 2019, when Hush Puppy's team gained access to the bank's computer network. They then sent fake messages requesting money orders. But their biggest score would have undoubtedly been from an unnamed English Premier League club in the amount of $124 million. However, it was never released if this scam was successful or not. At the height of Hush Puppy's fraud, he and his team were easily gaining $1 million to $5 million per scam, and this would happen about once or twice a week. But all that came to an end in 2020. In June of 2020, SWAT teams arrived at Abbas's Dubai home located at the exclusive Palazzo Versace. Behind the scenes, the FBI had been quietly investigating who was behind these massive scams. And by analyzing not only text messages, but get this, Abbas's social media posts, they were able to get the information they needed to secure an arrest. Let that sink in for a second. The very medium that Abbas loved to flex on became the very thing that led to his downfall. The FBI were able to secure not only the contact information for Mr. Abbas from his gram, but the icing on the cake came from a certain birthday post where Ramon had a mini figurine of himself surrounded by Fendi bags. This post allowed investigators to verify his date of birth and track him to a visa application. The team now had all they needed. When the SWAT team arrived, they found not only designer goods, but millions of dollars in cash. In fact, when it was all said and done, $40 million in cash, 47 smartphones, and 13 vehicles were apprehended. They also found over 2 million email addresses of potential victims. Now, the influencer known as Hush Puppy is no more. He and his group of criminal conspirators are accused of running internet scams that netted a total of $456 million. Abbas was expelled from the United Arab Emirates and was flown first to Chicago for holding before being transferred to Los Angeles. Here, the Central District of California will be handling the prosecution. We'd say it's going to be a long, long time before the world ever sees a post from one of Hush Puppy's accounts again. And it looks like his followers couldn't care less. In one of Hush's final posts showcasing some recent designer purchases, he stated, "The God I serve doesn't want me to struggle." To which one of his followers replied, "Guess God putting you in jail." Believe it or not, this isn't the only time someone has been caught by authorities due to evidence found on their social media.
So we need to look at the pros and cons from all of these information that's easily accessible on the internet. Here's just a few for you to look at.
I told you it was coming. I said they'd go for central bank digital currencies, a cashless society, and the arguments for it are clear. It'll be quick, easy, cheap to transact. There'll be no problems at all, no loose change lying around. There'll be lots and lots of arguments for it. Well, this week, the Chancellor of the Exchequer and the Bank of England have said by 2030, Britcoin, a central bank digital currency, will be up and running. It will, to begin with, be limited in scope, but with huge ambitions for the years to come. I think this could pose some real threats. It actually gives government pretty much total control over our lives, because they can just press a button and close our bank accounts. No, they wouldn't do that now, would they? Well, think about it. Those Canadian truckers, they were legally and lawfully going about their business driving trucks, but legislation came in demanding that unless they'd been double vaxxed, they couldn't continue in their cabins doing long-distance lorry driving. And they protested, and in the end, their bank accounts were closed down by the Canadian government. Well, with the central bank digital currency, anyone that decides to stand up and fight against the government could be pressed down simply with the push of a button. That is my concern. What is it all going to mean? Well, joining me down the line is Leah Harpern. She's a podcaster, but also the author of Undressing Bitcoin, not Britcoin, Bitcoin. Leah, thank you and welcome for joining me this evening. Just explain central bank digital currencies. This isn't just the Bank of England considering this, is it?
Exactly. Currently, more than 90% of central banks globally are all working on bringing out a central bank digital currency. And I think it's really important to elaborate on what exactly that is. A central bank digital currency is basically what we have now. So it's fiat currency, but it's going to be entirely digital, which means absolutely in the control of the government and the central bank. So as you mentioned, government, since they own it, they're able to program it in a way that we've never seen before. So as you said, if for whatever reason you don't do as you're told and you don't take 3 vaccines, 4 vaccines, or whatever it is, the money can just be programmed to be used against you. The perfect example is right now we're living during this supposed climate crisis where they want to implement a carbon allowance. So how do you do that? Well, it's very simple. You just program the money in a way that you cannot do with the current cash that we have. You program the money. So if, for example, you have a barbecue and you want to buy some steaks, some burgers, some sausages, whatever it is, you could actually reach your carbon allowance. And when you go to fill up your car, it could get declined because you reach your carbon allowance. So it's a really efficient way for governments to implement their political and woke agendas through the money.
Well, all of this, of course, Leah, all of this will be denied at every stage by government. But when you look at the incredible overreach of government over the course of the last few years, nothing is impossible. Now, I know that you are a great advocate for Bitcoin, perhaps for other cryptocurrencies too. And it's, you know, this program is not here to give investment advice, but I'm thinking to myself, if we move towards full central bank digital currencies, and I don't want government to control potentially every aspect of my life, Presumably, this could be the biggest thing that's ever happened to Bitcoin and other crypto coins.
Absolutely. During the time of the truckers, we used to say that Justin Trudeau was the best advocate for Bitcoin, because with Bitcoin, when you hold it correctly in a non-custodial wallet, which means outside of any CEO or centralized control, nobody can freeze it. Nobody can touch your funds as long as it's in a non-custodial wallet. And that's the most important thing. And, you know, you don't have to buy Bitcoin for an investment purposes. It's about being a sovereign individual, because money is the energy which fuels your life. So if you don't have control of your money, you don't have control over anything. And you, in my opinion, really just become a slave, because if the government can make your money expire, if the government can freeze it in the name of terrorism or national security, then what freedom do you have in society as an individual? You have none. And that's why, of course, I'm a huge advocate for Bitcoin, because nobody can touch it. There's no CEO. There's no centralized authority, fully decentralized, in the control of just you.
But number one, you know, we've got to be honest, it is extremely volatile in terms of price. And number two, we have seen a very large number of bankruptcies in what is a pretty unregulated market. So there are risks here, aren't there?
So I'll start with the price. Firstly, it is volatile. Everything is volatile. But if you zoom out and look at Bitcoin over the last decade, you can see that it is moving on an upward trajectory. Again, this isn't investment advice, but long term, if you do zoom out, it does seem to be some form of store of value. Secondly, with regards to bankruptcies, those are centralized exchanges. And I would never advocate leaving your money on a centralized exchange. That's really the same as leaving it in a bank with no insurance and no regulation. So don't do that.
Nope. OK. Well, Leah, thank you once again for joining me on this programme. Thank you very much.
There are few feelings like finding a crumpled up old bill in a sweater pocket. And with so many new forms of digital currencies popping up, one day it may just be a thing of the past. So what happens if a country replaces its physical currency with digital currency? A central bank digital currency, often abbreviated as CBDC, is a digital form of a country's sovereign currency and is issued and regulated by its central bank. It's essentially an electronic version of cash, which means it serves as a medium of exchange, just like traditional money. But unlike physical cash or even some electronic money, CBDCs offer a unique combination of attributes. Unlike Bitcoin, CBDCs are not cryptocurrencies. Although they may share similar underlying blockchain or digital ledger technology, the key distinction lies in their institutional backing and legitimacy. Whereas Bitcoin is decentralized and lacks a central authority, a CBDC is a legal tender issued and regulated by the country's central bank. This means that it holds the same value as physical currency and can be used to pay for all public and private transactions. Now, let's explore the potential benefits of CBDCs. First and foremost, CBDCs promise to speed up transactions and reduce costs, especially for cross-border transfers. They could eliminate intermediaries, reducing the time and fees associated with transactions. Furthermore, as digital currencies, they can be integrated with smart contracts, self-executing contracts with the terms directly written into code, enabling programmable money that could be transformative for the economy. CBDCs also offer the possibility of financial inclusion, as they could provide an accessible digital payment option for the unbanked or underbanked populations, particularly in developing countries. Moreover, they could enable central banks to implement monetary policy more effectively, as CBDCs provide an accurate and real-time understanding of money flows. One example of a country leading the way in this domain is China, with its digital currency electronic payment, or DCEP system. DCEP aims to replace some of China's monetary base, offering a digital form of the Chinese yuan, and is already undergoing trials in several cities. Unfortunately, as exciting as CBDCs may seem, they are not without potential downsides. Privacy concerns are a major issue. With CBDCs, every transaction could be monitored, raising questions about data privacy and financial freedom. Another potential risk lies in cybersecurity. As digital currencies, CBDCs would be prone to cyber attacks, requiring robust security measures to protect against theft and fraud. Furthermore, CBDCs could disrupt the existing banking system. If everyone decides to convert their bank deposits to CBDCs during a financial crisis, this could lead to bank runs, destabilizing the entire financial system. Lastly, the introduction of CBDCs raises concerns over digital exclusion. Not everyone has access to the digital infrastructure needed to use CBDCs, potentially creating a new divide between the digital haves and have-nots. As you can see, CBDCs represent a fascinating innovation in our monetary system. While they offer the potential for increased efficiency, financial inclusion, and effective monetary policy implementation, they also present significant challenges related to privacy, cybersecurity, financial stability, and digital exclusion. As we navigate toward an increasingly digital future, the decisions we make about CBDCs will undoubtedly play a significant role in shaping our global economy. We must strive to capitalize on the benefits while diligently addressing the risks and challenges. So what do you think? Is it better for our society if we continue to move towards digitalized currencies? Or do you prefer finding your loose change under the couch cushions?
It's an emergency. We've cancelled what we had planned for this week because some attention came to the crisis. And you're wondering, what's the crisis? We have just been told that our government has now agreed to start phasing out the cash and going digital. Yes, you heard me right. All of you at home with cash under your bed, don't start panicking at once, but they're coming for your cash. So we're going to be out in Wood Green, asking people in the community, first and foremost, have you heard of the government plans? They're already started in America to get rid of the dollars. The Jamaican Prime Minister has already announced that he's about to get rid of the Jamaican dollar because he believes that digital is the way forward. And as you've heard, when America sneezes, we catch it. So we're about to catch the flu, people. So we'll be out on the streets of Wood Green finding out what the people feel and are they petrified? Because I'm telling you, I'm scared. And I'm going to be telling all my family and friends, make sure you go on the Bank of England website and find out about this. They're coming for our money, people. Let's get out of here. So here we are today in Wood Green Marketplace, where we'll be going around asking a lot of people some questions about how they feel about the cashless society, especially the elderly people that might not be able to use their smartphones. And a lot of them are used to using cash. How is this new lifestyle, new visioning going to affect the elder people and the people in the community? Come along.
I think the elderly people are more likely to be affected than the younger generations. Obviously, it's a new technology, but I feel that we're moving on. We're moving on with life. We're moving on with society. We're moving on with cash. But I don't think that sterling would ever die down. I think physical money would always be there. But I think again, the cashless, or is it a cashless society, or the credit card aspects, I think we're moving on with life.
Well, places like Jamaica within the next few weeks, and I think Nigeria's already gone cashless, they will be going in a digital format. So they're trying to get rid of all their cash money and everything's going to be online.
Because, well, I'm hoping, I didn't even know. I didn't know Nigeria and Jamaica. Okay, I didn't know that. Well, I hope Ghana starts anyway. But I hope they don't get rid of the... And I don't know what their money's called. What's Jamaica's money?
It's dollars, but that is the whole reason they want rid of all the money.
They do that because their ancestors started all of that. So it's not something they should get rid of. It's a remembrance of how money started in the first place. You know, even Nigeria shouldn't get rid of their. I feel bad now. I can't remember what the
Naira.
They shouldn't get rid of their Naira. You know, because the ancestors brought that into existence for us. So at least they should keep it and continue with a credit card or the cashless. You know.
So what about fraud? Where we got, what is it, 419 boys and Hush Puppy?
Yes. Well, we have to move on. We have to move on with life. We have to move on with the next generation. You know, I mean, obviously the 419 aspects. Obviously, I disagree with things like that, but...
Have you heard of Hush Puppy? He's one of the most famous scammers in the world, even from behind bars. he was still getting invited to Louis Vuitton.
Louis Vuitton! I've never known that. Never ever have known. No, I haven't heard of them.
And as you can see, there are a lot of people in the community are not even made aware that countries around them and the countries where we come from are moving to a cashless society and becoming digital. How will it affect you and your family going forward? What we're doing today is a small documentary going around asking people how do they feel about the whole society turning cashless. So getting rid of all of the cash and everything going digital. How do you feel about that?
Well, it could be a safer way for things to go, but obviously from my own point of view, it's very hard to survive out here with it being a cashless society. But, I mean, I suppose with COVID and germs, it takes away that danger, I suppose, because I suppose that's one way that it was passed around, or one way they tell us it was passed around.
But most of the things that they're saying is to stop like fraud and other stuff like that. They're not even talking about the health aspect.
You know what? There seems to be more fraud through cards and credit cards and people losing their cards. I know, for instance, I lost my card and within 20 minutes they'd spent every penny on it. And so, I mean, I can't see how, I mean, maybe cash laundering, but I'm sure they're still doing, that's still done. They'll always find a way around laundering the cash, whether it's in nail salons or whether it's in restaurants. You know, there's so many ways to launder money. I can't see it making any difference.
So would you say then, apart from the money laundry, let's say then you then started misbehaving, or the government believed that you're misbehaving, do you think it's a way just to control you where they can freeze your money?
Absolutely. You know what? Every freedom we lose, we never ever going to get it back. It only goes one way. Every small freedom that we lose, and that's why nobody's fighting for these little freedoms. Every freedom we lose, that's it. It's gone forever.
All right. Thank you for your contribution. I'll see you on the way back up, yeah? All right. Thank you.
The world we live in is becoming more digital. As a result, we aren't using cash as much as we used to. To keep up with the changing times, the Bank of England and HM Treasury are looking at the idea of a digital pound. This would be an electronic version of cash issued by the Bank of England and accessed through digital wallets provided by private companies. You'd be able to spend your digital pounds in the shops and online using your phone, as well as sending them to friends and family. And you would also still be able to pay with cash or money in your bank, even if we go ahead with the digital pound. People have told us that this could be useful, but we haven't made a final decision whether to launch one. A few countries already have their own version of a digital currency, and over 100 others are thinking about it. We think the digital pound might offer a new way to pay, help businesses, build trust in money, and better protect our financial system.
So what are your thoughts on the new cashless society where they're trying to rule out all the cash and make everything go digital?
I don't think it's right. No. I don't think it's right at all, because I think it's all wrong. You should always have your own money and know what you've got in the account itself.
Yeah, you should be able to spend what you've earned without them knowing what you've got. It should be all private, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should be,
like,
yeah.
Say you had a death in the family and you sold your house. That cash is legally the actual, kin, isn't it? So what's that got to do with the government? Nothing. As long as you've paid your death benefits on it. And for them to turn around and say, right, you've got 100 grand, but you can only spend 20,000 a year. I'm sorry, it's totally wrong.
I think one of the most shocking things for me is all the people we spoke to today are unaware of what's going on. And these are things that don't come on the news. So unless you go on the Bank of England website, you're not going to know about it.
You're No, because we didn't know, did
yeah,
we?
we didn't know,
Till
not
we
till
actually spoke
now.
to you
Yeah.
today.
So it's about making sure that you inform others of what's going on, and also for you yourself to keep up to date with the changes. Yeah? Any final points?
I'll definitely be
I've
watching the
definitely
Bank
been
of
watching
England
it,
website.
and I'm very
definitely,
shocked
yeah.
what's happening.
Yeah.
Because what is ours should be staying as ours.
Well, this is why a lot of people are immigrating to other countries that are refusing to buy into these laws. So it's just about keeping on top of things and making sure you know what's happening as it's happening. Yeah? Thank you for your contribution.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
So what are your thoughts on the Cashless Society, removing all cash?
If they remove cash, then I think whoever controls the actual digital financial system has control over the money. So if people can't pay with hard cash, then it's like giving complete control to like the government and the banks, because like, yeah, I mean, and
you look scared.
Well, I can't word it very well, but like, and also they can switch off whoever like kind of has cash. It can be manipulated. If it's a cashless society and it's all like digital, then it can just be manipulated on a computer to say that we can shut your cash down because so and so you've done something wrong or whatever. But I mean, paying by hard cash is freedom, and if you take that away, then you're just enslaved to their system.
So what's the alternatives? Because that's what they're going to ask. What's the solution?
Just let humans keep paying with cash. I mean, I know they're pushing hard.
Some countries already started. So Nigeria and Jamaica in a few weeks going to go cashless.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that, but I just hope people resist, because I mean, it all sounds good without having a wallet and stuff with coins and notes, but there's a lot of negatives and downfalls that people have to study and look at the alternative media, find out what the negative points are, because of course there's positives as well, but there's negatives that people should inform themselves about. I mean, they won't teach you this in school about all the bad things about it. The government won't say the bad things, but because they don't want people to know the bad stuff. But I'm just against it. I mean, it's something sinister. I feel that is leading us to some kind of
dark destruction.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay.
What the government's planning is to get rid of all the cash. So, as a young person, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I feel like I'm neutral about it, because although it will help others, so let's say our normal essentials like food, water, it will help us. However, for people doing the hard work like growing crops and anything that's helping us live, they won't be paid as much and they'll be doing it for free. So it wouldn't quite help them and more us that aren't really doing anything about it.
So some of the shops that we've gone into, they've said that they feel safer not having cash on the premises. So if someone came in to rob them, they wouldn't get any money. So what do you think about that?
I mean, it is a valid reason and a valid excuse, and I do agree with it, but people will find something to rob with. So let's say phones or like food, anything like that. Even if you can just go to, for example, McDonald's and get yourself a free burger. So they will still trying to find a way to get something off you no matter what.
So regardless what they do, crime will continue.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
Just keep money how it is. Because if we just keep on changing, like even though future generations, you know, even if we don't have any money, it will still affect the future generation, if I'm being honest, yeah.
Are you going to go off and tell your friends and family about this?
Yeah, we're probably going to debate about it.
And that's the way of the future. Make sure that all your friends know, yeah? All right, thank you. Take it.
I feel like when it's digital, they can control it better. Yeah, I feel like they don't want as much freedom, because with cash, obviously, like, you can withdraw it, you can hide it most of the time. And with digital, they can track it and track what you're paying for.
Yeah, it's better as well because you can, they can track and and stuff.
So what about as young people? You got the oysters and everything else. Everyone knows where you're going. Now, everything you buy, they'll know. You like that?
If you're doing something negative, then probably you wouldn't like it. But if you're following the law, then it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, exactly, the same thing.
So once you follow the law, you shouldn't be worried. All right, any final thoughts?
Nah, that's pretty much it. See.
You wanna add your contacts or big up yourself?
Yeah, I got TikTok, post football videos on it. It's TRXP Rose.
Thank you. Love.
Thank you.